right, y'all. Okay. Why did I start the video laughing? What's up, y'all? Welcome to my channel again. It's your girl Lyric, and we're back with another video. So make sure I'm missing my spiel. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and go watch all the other videos on my channel. It's not that many, so like it's not a hard task for you to do. You can go do it. You go do it. So today we're going to be talking about just waiting on your husband, and the waiting journey, just how it feels and the temptation that comes, and the men that you want, but God says no. So, first off, I am single. I've been single for about 3 years now, and my previous relationship was with my kid's dad. So, yeah, I've been single for about 3 years, and it was a on and off relationship. That first year after we broke up, I had no interest in dating, talking to anybody. I was trying to heal, unlearn very toxic behaviors that I had acquired from the relationship. So I just was, I was hurt. I just was not in a space to be talking to anybody in that year after. But last year I did start talking to guys again, and I didn't really like it. I was like, maybe I thought I was ready and I'm not. Maybe I'm not ready for this. This year, I haven't really been wanting to. Like that year after, I was just focused on healing, focused on unlearning toxic behaviors that year after the breakup. The following year, I decided to try it and then regretted it the couple times that I tried. And then this year, I've really just been so focused on, just trying to figure out what God is wanting me to do in this season and making sure that I am fulfilling the assignments God has given me. So I haven't really been worried about dating. So, but sometimes I'll casually talk to a guy or something like that, but it's never me being like, this is it, this is the one. And when I said that the guys that we want, God says no, there were a couple of the guys that I was talking to, and God very clearly told me no. Very clearly told me no. And I'm just like, but why? But why? Why can't I have them? And I realized that now I realized, at the time I didn't necessarily realize, that if there is somebody that you are wanting to spend the rest of your life with and you want them to be your husband, and I don't even know if last year I was in this space where I was thinking marriage. I think I was in the space of, I just feel like I need to get back out there. I don't even know if I really wanted to. I was just like, I just feel like I need to type thing. So, yeah. But when you think about it, your husband needs to be able to handle the calling that you have on your life and the magnitude of it, and be able to cover you, be able to pray for you, be able to go up against the enemy when you may be too weak to, they need to intercede for you. There's just all of these things that come into, all of these things that go into it that you need to consider when you're thinking about marrying somebody. And the guys that God told me no, they couldn't do that for me. They couldn't do it for me. And what's crazy is I knew that I probably should not be talking to this person. I probably should run. But sometimes they just look so good. They look so good. And not saying looks is everything. I'm not saying looks are everything. It's just, dang. You ain't got no business looking that good. You just ain't got no business looking that good. So it's hard. And I always come to after, because I have had a couple guys I was talking to. I had my little Delulu stage. Like, oh, God can change them. If I just pray consistently and just pray for a renewed heart, renewed mind, just pray for the transformation, I am believing God will do it. I believe God will do it. And then we're fine. And then we're good. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes it does. Sometimes God can do anything. So he can renew and transform anybody. But if that person is not for you, they're not for you. They're not for you. They're not going to be for you. God already has somebody for you. And you need to wait on who he has for you and not try and manipulate the one that you want to be for you, because at the end of the day, God knows what you truly need, and what you think you need now is not what you really need. So you really just need to wait. So I've realized that. I'm saying all this because it's things I've realized. I've realized that. But I think I'm so just, because there are times where, because it was spoken over my life that God is going to answer my prayer for a husband. And I started praying for my husband about a year or so after me and my ex broke up. And it was just like, God, whoever you have for me, that's the person I want. I don't want to get into a relationship that is going to cause me unnecessary pain that you don't want me to go through. The next person that I want to be with is somebody that I'm going to be with forever, not somebody that I'm going to have to go through years of pain with and then walk out of it with trauma and all this other stuff. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be with the person that you have for me, and I need that person to be like, I need all of the confirmations. I need all of that, because I don't want to get into something that you didn't call me to. Like, I don't want to do it. So I started praying that prayer, and then I actually have video footage of it. I don't think I'm gonna include it, just because that is something that is so just it's a very intimate thing, and it's very personal to me. So I don't know if I'll include the footage. But after I preached my second sermon, I think it's in the first video, not what my pastor said about my husband, but in the first video, I had my two sermons, my very first two sermons. Yeah. The first sermon, that I think I was in like this black skirt with like this shirt, and I had braids, and my hair was in a ponytail. Not a fan of that outfit. It was a basic church outfit, I guess. And then my second sermon was when I was in, it's crazy that I remember my outfits. My second sermon was, I was in a long sleeve, long turtleneck dress. And after that sermon, that's when my pastor was just started speaking all of these things over my life. Like, the whole thing is recorded. I go back to that so much to just remind myself of what God said, and to just hold on to that as much as I can. So yeah, it's all recorded. And then at one point in the recording, she said, "You've been praying for a husband." I just kind of looked at her, because do the whole church need to know that? And she said it again. She's like, "You've been praying for a husband." I'm like, yes, okay, I have. And I was just like, I just nodded my head. I don't even think I said anything. I was just like, yep. And she said, God's gonna answer that prayer. and he's going to give you a husband, but he needs to do some things like in you first. He needs to work with you first, or pretty much how I took it was, and this was 2 years ago, and I have changed a lot since 2 years ago, but how I took it was he needs to work on me first before I get a husband, which I understood, because 2 years ago, I ain't gonna lie, I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess. Yeah, she pretty much said that. She's like, God's gonna give it to you, but he needs to do some things in you first. And I'm like, okay. So I remember, because there have been times where I would start to get anxious. Like, when's he coming? Where's he at? I know I haven't met him yet. Where's he at? I don't know. And then she said it again to me. She told me after church, and I forgot exactly what she said, but she told me again after church, like, God is going to give you a husband. And have you ever heard something so much when it comes to being spoken over your life, and you kind of not get irritated? I would say I was irritated, but there have been times where somebody repeatedly says something like, you're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. And it's the same thing. And at some point after hearing it so many times, you're like, okay, when? When's it coming? When is that going to happen? When? Because we're human and we want to know, like, of course it's in God's timing. His timing is perfect. But we get anxious. And we want to know, can I get a tracking number? Can I get like can I get a tracking number so I can be notified of when the package leaves the factory? Is my package still in the factory? Is he still being worked on? Is God still doing some things in him before he gets shipped out? When he gets shipped out, where's he getting shipped from? Is he overseas? Is it gonna take a while for him to get here? What's he shipped? Like, is he almost, do I need to go pick it up? Do I need to go pick it up? Like, I've had times where I've gotten anxious about it. And then also the waiting journey, it can start to get discouraging. And I feel like I am so blessed to know that I am going to get one, because there are women that don't know they're going to get one, and God be with you, because if I didn't know that I was going to get one, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be as content in the waiting journey if I didn't know that I was going to get one. If it was just up in the air, because the world, it ain't looking too good. It's not looking too good. I saw this one TikTok. I think it was Ariel Fitzpatrick. I'm pretty sure it was her TikTok. And it was like, when the world is starting to look more like Revelations every day, but you ain't married yet, or something like that. And she was talking to God, and it was just her saying, like, yeah, I got a man. That would be me. I'd be like, I'm in a relationship, because I have not gotten into relationships because I know what God told me. And in that video, the reason why I'm not going to include it, maybe at some point I will, but in that video, my pastor also told me, and God was speaking through her, of the traits that my husband carries and certain things that are very distinct. So anytime I'm talking to somebody, and I'm so like, God, I thank you for that insight, because anytime I talk to somebody, I look for those traits and those qualities that my pastor told me. And if they're not there, I'm just like, I don't know. And it's usually very clear. One, God makes it very clear to me, like, no, Lyric, this isn't it. Let me tell y'all. There was, it's so funny because, okay, so I'm at church, right? There's this guest speaker that comes in and he speaks. And he's preaching good. I'm listening, I'm enjoying it. And at this time, there was this guy I was talking to, and he's preaching and he goes around and he's just speaking these things over everybody's lives. And I always check for, because anybody can say something. Anybody can just say, oh, you're gonna be da 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 da, and people are like, oh, that's God telling him. But sometimes, in some people, it's not God telling them. So I look for things like that. And then also, I've heard this speaker before, and I knew that God uses him in a very, very mighty way. So I knew it was okay from the jump. But I was just listening to him going to certain people and just speaking things over our lives. He even went to my best friend Ken and started talking to her and telling her things that I know she's told me. She don't talk to that man. She don't talk to that man. But there's things that she has only told me that he was saying. So I'm like, yeah, God is using you and he is speaking through you. So he was, going to different people in the church. He didn't come to me at first. So I was like, okay, I'm glad everybody got what they needed and got some insight and everything like that. Like, great. He gets in the pulpit, he goes about his message, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm in the clear. Tell me why he's in his message and he says, and then young lady in the glasses. And I'm like, there's a couple of us in here. I got glasses, but she got glasses behind me too. And this was all going on in my head. And he's like, young lady with the glasses holding the baby. And Aaliyah was in my lap. And I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. So I just looked at him. Because I know what's coming. I just looked at him. And he started off very good. He's like, you know that you are intelligent, you know that you are all of these other things. And then he started confirming some things that God had told me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I really needed that confirmation. He was just like saying things and speaking things, and then he said, and leave that nappy-headed boy alone. I said, because y'all, it was one I circled back on. Let me circle back. It was one I had circled back on. So I kind of knew that I shouldn't have probably circled back on him, but I did. And and we were talking-ish again, and he flat out said in the pulpit, leave that nappy-headed boy alone. I'm looking like, and Ken said after, she's just like, bro, seeing your face was hilarious because you were looking like, why is this man up here telling my business? And I'm like, dang, why you gotta be nappy-headed? Why you gotta have a nappy head? Why you got a nappy head? So I'm like, okay. And I was just shook. I was shook because I don't know you. And you guys, I had already known that I need to leave this man alone. I had already known it. I knew it. And then he gets up there in the pulpit and very boldly and loudly says, leave that nappy-headed boy alone. I said, nappy-headed? Is he not? Is the guy I'm talking to nappy-headed? But yeah, it was very, very clear. Very clear. And then after church, when I hugged him, he was like, what did he say? He said, I forgot what he said, but he said it again. He said, and leave that boy alone. Leave him alone. I'm like, I heard you the first time when you was in the pulpit in front of everybody, said in front of the church. I heard you then. I get it, okay? So, yes, I don't know where I was at before that. I think I was saying that God will let you know. Yes, God will let you know. If somebody is not for you, he will tell you. Sometimes you may have to ask him, God, is this man for me? And then he'll tell you, or he'll just very loudly and clearly tell you, no. You don't even have to ask. I think I think with that particular one, God knew I wasn't gonna ask because I knew what he was gonna say. So I was like, this is not gonna ask. But he's like, well, I'm gonna tell you in the pulpit for the whole church. And it was a confirmation for me because I had already known, like, Lyric, you should probably not talk to this man. But I'm like, man, look good. Man looks good. But yeah, I do have my anxious times. Everyone in my friend group is in a relationship or married. There's one that's not in a relationship and they're cool, they're fine, they're chilling. And that's really how I am too. But that period of time where they were all getting married and then somebody else is getting engaged or somebody else is getting engaged, and then I'm in a bridesmaid, another one, and a bridesmaid, another one. I said, God, I'm tired of being a bridesmaid. Tired of being a bridesmaid. But that was before I knew that God was going to answer my prayer for a husband. But before I knew that, I was very anxious and I was very like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm gonna get one. Where's he at? What's he doing? But yeah, it is a wait. But I'm in a place now where I am perfectly fine with waiting. I'm not trying to rush anything. I'm not trying to get into anything that I should not be getting into. And I'm very much listening to the voice of God and listening to what he is telling me to do. And right now in this season, I am just trying to, of course, every season you need to be doing this, but really trying to take in as much knowledge as I can. And really just like I've been so into, I would read here and there, but lately I have just been so into reading books. There was one book that was just so interesting and so good to me that I read it in like 2 days. I could not stop reading it. And I've just been trying to take in as much knowledge as I can in this season, and then also doing whatever God tells me to do, whatever assignment he gives me, just trying to fulfill that assignment, and then making sure that I am being effective, making sure that I am being a good steward over the things that he's giving me, making sure that I am serving, doing different things in my church, and making sure that I am being there for others while also being there for myself, working on being a good mom. So that's just the season I'm in right now, and I haven't really been worried about it. I'm really just trying to work, and there's no reason for me to worry about it when I know it's going to come in God's timing. Me worrying about it is not going to make it come any faster. And I feel like that's such a just something that we need to think about as women, not even just women, but as a man too, that worrying about when it's gonna come, whatever, not even a husband or a wife, just whenever something was spoken over your life. Maybe it's a child, if you're struggling with trying to have a child, whether it's a just your business getting to a certain point where it's so successful that you don't have to work a 9 to 5, things like that. If something like that is spoken over your life and you're constantly worrying about when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen, I can tell you from experience, worrying about it is not going to make it come any faster. It's not going to make it come any faster. So what you really need to do is in this season, ask God, what am I doing in this season? What am I doing while I'm waiting? Because there are steps that you have to take to get to that point. It's not just going to be, oh, it's spoken over your life and it's here tomorrow. That's not how it works. I wanted it to work like that. I wanted it to work like that. Like maybe not tomorrow, God, but like in a few months or something. But it's really just, it is timing, and he knows what he's doing. And you also have to take into account that when it comes to certain things, like if there's a business that is going to be successful, it was spoken and God spoke it to you and you got confirmation for it, and this business is going to be booming and successful, but it's not right now, There are certain things that have to, like I said, certain steps that have to happen before you get there. And when you get there, it's going to be so big, that business, that you're going to have to hire other people in. So where you're going, it's not just you that's affected, it's other people that are affected too. So God may have to work on other people for when you get to that point. So just like a business, maybe when your business is so big, you'll need an assistant. But if it got big right now, your assistant isn't at the point now where they can be your assistant. Maybe they're working another job and God needs them to learn certain things on that job to effectively be your assistant when you get there. There's just so many things that you have to take into account that God needs to work on. And you don't want to rush him. You can't rush him, but you don't want to, because you don't want to it'll just all fall together so perfectly when it's in God's timing. And if you try to go ahead of him and you try to do certain things that, you really didn't need to do if you would have just waited, it's just going to cause so much trouble for you and so much just of a headache that you never really even had to get if you would have just waited. So I'm at that point now where I'm just, God, I'm going to let you, he doesn't need my permission, but God, I am going to be content in this season, because I know that you're working on whatever it is you need to work on, things that I might not even know that you need to work on. I might think that you just need to work on me and you need to work on my husband and that's it, but maybe you need to work on his family. Maybe you need to work on my family. Maybe you need to work on my kids. Like, there's just so many things that you have to think about that God knows that you don't. That there's just certain things that are tied into what was spoken that he needs to work on too. So just breathe. Just breathe. I feel like I'm in my breathing season too. Just trying to just waiting it out. Waiting it out. But God knows the plans he has for you. Plans to give you hope in the future. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. So just know all of those things and hold on to all of those things. And you can get anxious. You will get anxious. Take a breather and know that God's got it. He's got it and he's got you, and it'll all work out when it's supposed to. So that was my video. That was the video on just the waiting journey, waiting on your husband and keeping the faith. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Like it, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Go watch my other videos, and I will see you in the next one. All right. Peace.